Welcome back to Being Talk About channel. Hello, meet me again, Andrew here. Before we start this hot discussion, don't forget to subscribe first so you can get various facts that people are currently talking about. There are a lot of things people are talking about out there. As for us, let's start from here. Not long ago, the world was shocked by the decision of the richest person in the world, who decided to buy Twitter shares. With that, various public opinions emerged in the form of a question mark. Therefore, the Being Talked About channel was moved to quote an opinion quoted from a columnist on the AlJazeera.com site. Quite an interesting opinion from Andrew Mitrovica, the columnist. Alright, let's hear what he has to say. Listen carefully to the end and don't skip, so you don't misunderstand what he says later. This is his opinion. Why is Elon Musk buying Twitter? The world's richest man says he is buying Twitter to defend democracy and to protect freedom of expression. But there are no benevolent plutocrats. His confession: I used to do Twitter, but I don't do Twitter anymore. I didn't want to do Twitter, ever. I have lived a full and, for the most part, good life without having to share a moment of that full, and for the most part, good life on Twitter or any other social media platform. These days, I am a Twitter unicorn. Still, about 9 years ago, an editor in Ottawa I wrote for encouraged me to join Twitter because a few journalists as friends asked, on Twitter, why I was not on Twitter. He was eager to have me push my stuff on Twitter so I could generate more traffic and hits for my weekly column back then. More hits meant more traffic. More traffic usually translated into more followers on Twitter. Attracting more followers was going to make me and my followers happy that I was on Twitter. I did not need or want to find happiness on Twitter. The prospect of having followers was strange and off-putting. I didn't want or need anyone to follow me online. Read me, yes, please, follow me. Anyway, reluctantly, I agreed to set up an account and push my missives on Twitter. Hey, I might have been rewarded with a blue check mark, validation, status, clout. Twitter can transform you from a nobody into a somebody instantly. Twitter can also help you build your brand. Maybe someday you can leverage your brand to make money. Lots of big-name journalists do it. Good for them, I suppose. Goodness knows, with so many jobs going poof, journalists need other ways to make a living. I was not interested in turning myself into a brand. At first, I thought Twitter was harmless. I wrote a column. I pushed the column on Twitter. Soon, people began to follow me. Over time, I netted more followers, some of whom wrote kind and thoughtful tweets about me and my column. Others did not. Slowly, I began to get sucked into the disfiguring vortex of Twitter. If you are on Twitter, you probably know what I am referring to. It is that place and state of mind that you can descend into on Twitter consciously or subconsciously. I did. It is not a happy place at all. It is a surly, mean, often ugly place and space where you write and do things that you may or may not regret having written or done. Perhaps not in the moment, but later on, when, if you are lucky, you take time to think and reflect upon what you have written or become on Twitter. Like so many others on Twitter, you lash out, you strike back, you turn nasty, you aim to prick people deeply. They reply in sad, equal measure. Some use their real names, others hide behind a nom de guerre. You begin to attract even more followers who enjoy it when you lash out, strike back, and are nasty to or aim to prick a common foe. They applaud and urge you on. They like and retweet your tweets. It is fuel, so you tweet and tweet until, one day, you look up and see that you have spent hours inside the vortex. So much wasted time. You could have spent that time doing something much more valuable and rewarding, like reading a book or enjoying a moment of stillness. Then, you understand that, in a way, you have become addicted to this ephemeral thing called Twitter. It is an unhealthy, destructive addiction. You cannot wean yourself off. You quit. Lately, Musk has been getting lots of love from people who use Twitter to hate on people, ideas, and facts they detest: liberals, gays, minorities, scientists, doctors, journalists, and lethal viruses, even kids who know the earth is burning up and want to do something about it. That is, with an apologetic nod to Led Zeppelin, a whole lot of bad love. It is true that many people who use Twitter try to do some good. It appears that Musk plans to fix Twitter by emboldening the haters who use Twitter to do damage and harm in the expedient name of free speech. Sure, It is free speech, Mr. Musk. It is hate speech, too. Every moment of every day, day after day, on Twitter. Hate of women, hate of immigrants, hate of black and brown people. Hate of people who want to love and marry people who they want to love and marry. Hate of love, charity, and knowledge. Hate of progress. Hate of democracy. Hate of anyone who does not think, act, or look like them. Admit it, Mr. Musk, you are buying Twitter to defend hate speech, right? I mean, you have to, since what would Twitter be without the worldwide sewer of hate that is such an undeniable and defining aspect of your microblogging site, Mr. Musk? Take your time, Mr. Musk. I can wait for your answers, if you will oblige a blue check mark less nobody who abandoned Twitter long before you decided to buy it. While I am waiting, I can remind you that the far-right loonies who have fallen madly in love with you have, in the last 9 months, banned more than 1,500 books in school districts throughout the United States, including a graphic novel about the Holocaust. Your response, as far as I can tell, silence, ought for America's marquee and messianic savior of free speech. The views expressed in this article are the author's own and do not necessarily reflect Al Jazeera's columnist stance. What you have heard is the opinion solely of Andrew Mitrovica. There may be some truth, and some may not be correct, so we will return everything to you to think about. That's all I can say about the current buzz about Elon Musk. I'll see you again. Andrew is in the next video and discussion. Don't forget to subscribe and comment.